Welcome back, watch fans. Today we are discussing the Jaquet Droz meteorite dial, Jaquet Droz, which is kind of an interesting watch. Now look, in case you don't know, this is the #1 channel when it comes to making money with watches, and our whole goal is to find unique watches that have upside investment potential and of course enjoyment on the wrist. So the goal is to find a watch that you can enjoy, but will also increase in value over the next 2 to 5 years. It will double or triple in value, right? That's our goal. Our goal is we want to have watches that will double or triple in value the next 2 to 5 years, right? Again, we're not looking for crazy returns. We're looking just for above, we just want to deliver alpha. That's right. This channel is all about delivering alpha. We want to exceed the rate of inflation, and of course, adjust for some, risk-adjusted returns, right? We want to have risk-adjusted returns here. Of course, look, it's a hard asset, so it's you can't compare it to financial, paper assets, right? This is more like gold, right? Gold, you know how gold works, right? It has ups, downs, but people buy it for a reason. Now, today we're discussing the world of Jaquet Droz. Jaquet Droz. And should you invest in Jaquet Droz? The short answer is no, maybe no. Okay, so listen, at the end of the day, your upside is determined by the price you get in, right? The price you buy determines your profit. Okay, it's kind of like a real estate almost, right? Like, you got to get in as low as possible a price, and especially in the case of a watch like this, you really cannot rely so much on the upside of the market lifting, right? Here, you really have to get in dirt cheap. So here's the deal with the Jaquet Droz. I'll tell you why I bought the watch, and did I make a massive, huge, and bigly mistake? Did I make the hugest, bigliest mistake of the watch investing, my watch investing career, right? So, Jaquet Droz. In case you guys don't know, Jaquet Droz, obviously, it is now Bill Sanders. The famous guy Bill Sanders on YouTube. He's done a whole video on Jaquet Droz, the history, and bottom line is he's actually an enthusiast of the movement. He doesn't refer to it as an horological movement. So Jaquet Droz is the oldest watch company in the world, started in the 1700s. Blah, blah, blah. They made automatons. They sold to the Chinese imperial court in the, I think, early 1800s. And, then they went out of business for 200 years, right? They were revived. Finally, Swatch bought them, I think, in the year 2000. And it looked like Swatch has done with their other brands. Blancpain, Breguet. By the way, Breguet is also one of these Fugazi brands. Yeah, it was started in 1890. But the modern Breguet has nothing to do with the Breguet from back then. I mean, they went out of business for like 1,000 years. By the way, Patek Philippe also has had periods when, Patek Philippe is really not the same as it was before the Stern family came in. It's a different company, right? It's a very different, and especially with Thierry Stern, I would say we're going to it's almost a completely different. Modern Patek, I would say, is than pre-Thierry Stern. I think the history of Patek will be divided by. Wow, very windy here. Don't try this at home, guys. This is the first time a Jaquet Droz has ever been in this type of an environment. But again, this is a space watch. This is a meteorite slice from outer space. It's survived, entering the atmosphere under intense temperature and pressures and crashing into the ground, and then somebody found it in Africa, and some tribesmen wandering around naked found us somewhere in Namibia, and here we are today. It's on a slice of the universe. This is a slice of the universe. Now, in case you don't know, we got 2 subdials. You notice there's 2 specimens of meteorite. I think this is the only meteorite dial in the world, or the Jaquet Droz, where you have 2 different slices of meteorite. You got one in the subdial, and then you got one in the the main dial. All right, so you got that, which I think is very, very interesting. So this is one of the most beautiful slices of meteorite. So Jaquet Droz. To make a bottom line story, long story short, to make a short story long, they're bought by Swatch, and it's kind of banging around in their portfolio of brands like Breguet, etc. They had a big Chinese market, but here's the thing with Jaquet Droz. So again, they were focusing on the Chinese market. So you notice they got the feng shui vibes. You got the figure 8 type of thing, and they do the watches in limited editions. So this is a limited edition of 88. There's only 88 of these on the planet. Okay, 88, 88. Why 88? Because it's good feng shui. What were we talking about? The Jaquet Droz. Yeah. So you don't. Okay. So when it comes to Jaquet Droz, there's really the only watches you should be buying if you're going to even touch a Jaquet Droz is the limited editions. You don't want to buy the mass-produced steel because that's just garbage. It's just like peasant. It's like JLC steel. It's just garbage. Now here's the interesting thing. Okay, I'll tell you what's going on with Jaquet Droz. I'll tell you why I bought them. What's happened with the Jaquet Droz? Again, you got this like horological history. How much of it is true? How much is fabricated? Listen, all these brands are fabricated. Okay, so let's not like say that one is more authentic than the other. Okay, all these brands are Fugazi brands. Okay, even Patek Philippe is a Fugazi brand. Okay, Thierry Stern is a Fugazi. What's happened with Jaquet Droz is they pivoted. They stopped making mass production watches. Okay, not that these were mass, but basically right now they've pivoted completely to bespoke. Okay, so they're not making this anymore. Okay, they're not making any. The only watches they make now are really piece unique. They make bespoke watches. They do like a thing. They basically say, okay, you want something with a dragon that moves. You want whatever. So I mean, if you go to their website, they did one for Bon Jovi that has a whole thing on it. Bon Jovi the musician, kind of an overrated musician, by the way, if you ask me. So Bon Jovi, highly overrated, highly overrated. And let me see if I can do this. Let me see if we can climb without using. There we go. Look, guys, I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. You think Archie Luxury would have been able to do that? This is not as easy as it looks to have one camera, to have both hands occupied. Because I can't use this hand. This hand has got the Jaquet Droz, so I can't bang this around. And this hand has the camera, so it's not as easy as it looks. Okay, this is a professional here. We bring you high value content. This is the only channel that delivers, C-grade content for a F-list audience. All right, so Jaquet Droz. So here is the investment thesis with Jaquet Droz. So they stopped doing the limited editions, right? So a watch like this, no more production, right? They don't do any more production of, limited editions. Everything now is piece unique. So does that give an upside to, whatever's out there floating around? The old stuff like this. The answer is, I think it does. Now, this development happened, relatively recently, right? I bought this watch 2 years ago. I'll explain to you why I bought it. And when I did buy it, it was not with investment purposes in mind. Although, I was concerned a little bit about not losing money, but getting in, I knew that this was not a, usually I like to buy a watch where I look at it as kind of like a built-in profit. In other words, I'm getting in at a price, and I know there's catalysts in place which are going to, move the price up, the value up in the short term. With this, there really wasn't. Very small, very minor catalyst. So the deal is this. So because Jaquet Droz is no more produced for the masses, essentially you have, I don't know if you want to call it the other flip side of the coin is they might be considered like an orphan brand almost, which is not good. But at the same time, you have this hyper exclusivity factor, right? So the bespoke watches are like 6 figures, right? So essentially they're only doing the watches now for, they're essentially competing with the Richard Mille in a way, right? They're doing like the Richard Mille type of thing because a lot of their stuff now is like, very modern, exposed movement, sapphire, sport, different, all sorts of crazy stuff. So what that means is the stuff that they did for the last, I don't know, 15 years, they did for basically, right, the first couple of years of Jaquet Droz, they were not that impressive. But then they started doing really cool stuff, starting around, I would say, 2008-ish till about, 2020. 2019 roughly. So about a period of 10 years, they did some very interesting things. And again, they were very, very Asia focused, okay? And Asia was a hot market. When I say Asia, we're talking China. So they were China focused. And the problem with China is, the Chinese economy, since they released that virus, their economy has basically been dead, right? I mean, it was kind of going downhill. I would say no. I would say since they brought in not the Chinese guy, the communist guy. Since they basically become a very, very hardcore communist now. They're really trying to pivot more to the communist thing. It's really wrecked the economy. It's taken out all the speculative fervor. Now, listen, I'm not here to tell the Chinese what to do. Like, I'm not Chinese. I don't live there. And, they should do what works for them, right? Maybe, Chinese communism, maybe it works for them. We're not here to, impose American values on the world, okay? This is not what it's about. Maybe it works for them. Who am I to say? Who am I to judge, as the Pope would say, right? So here's the deal with Jaquet Droz. So why did I buy this watch? Look, this was 2022 was the year, and I was looking for a watch. I was very interested in the Rolex Day-Date Meteorite, okay? The problem is the prices, and I've mentioned the story a couple times. At that time, the prices went bananas. They went from like 50 grand, which it was supposed to be, to like, 85 grand, right? And I was like, well, you know what? I'm not paying 85 grand for basically a watch that should be 40 grand, okay? Because the Rolex Day-Date Meteorite should be like a $40,000 watch. That's right, Meteorite should be, and it will be, basically a $40,000 watch. Whether it takes a year, 2 years, it's going to 40 grand, okay? Believe me. Rolex Day-Date Meteorite, Day-Date 40 Meteorite dial is a $40,000 watch. So don't be a tomato can. Don't overpay, all right? Don't, and by the way, they're dropping very, very fast in value. There's a bunch of them on the market. But at the time, the prices went bananas, and I happened to walk into a Breguet store. Actually, no, it was like a, I think the store is called Tourbillon or whatever. They have different brands from Swatch Group, and I was always curious about Jaquet Droz. I was curious because they do these cool, like, automaton watches with, like, all sorts of moving parts, well, very cool stuff. Very unique, interesting things. So I was curious to see it, and when I walked in, I saw this meteorite. I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. The meteorite. We worked out a deal at a deep discount. When we say discount, deep discount. So basically, this was the price of like roughly what a basic steel Rolex would be today, roughly in that range. We don't want to discuss price because this is a very cultured, aristocratic channel. We don't discuss such common things as money. We don't discuss money on this channel because that's for it's too common. It's for the commoners. Aristocrats don't discuss money, right? So we only talk about making big and hugely money, but we don't want to discuss such things as money. It's crass. We're not here to talk about crass things, but we did have to negotiate. We had to crassly negotiate to get the basically deep discount. We're talking like a 35% discount. 35% discount from retail. Now, why did I buy the watch? Because I figured, okay, look, it's a limited edition. There's 88 pieces, right? I always want to get into if I look at an investment, I want to look, okay, what's my downside? How much can I lose, right? And here I figured, okay, there's 88 pieces, so it's a relatively limited edition. You got the meteorite, which, I really was like jonesing, as the kids would say, for the meteorite dial. And I couldn't get the Rolex, so I compromised. This is a compromise watch, like literally. Literally, it's a compromise watch, right? I couldn't get the Rolex, so I got this. Now, interestingly, in retrospect, actually, it's a good deal because if I would have bought the Rolex, let's say I would have bought first of all, I would have had to pay, I don't know, if I would have been, I don't, it's hard to say because I would not pay 80 grand. I wouldn't pay 75. But if I did pay 60 or 75, look, even if I bought it at retail, okay, even if I paid 50 grand, which is the list price, I'd still be losing money because in theory, okay, if I paid 50, I could have sold at 80. And if I didn't sell at 80, that means, I'm losing out. I have an opportunity cost of 30, right? You understand what I'm saying? So there's a price to everything in life. Nothing in life is free. Nothing in life is free. Even love is not free, okay? You got to pay for everything, right? So basically, but this watch I think has depreciated maybe a couple of grand, maybe, or I could be maybe even breaking even, maybe even making a profit. It's very, very hard to determine. Why? Because there's no more production of the mass watches, and you don't see this on the market. If you look on Chrono, there is no Jaquet Droz meteorite dial in this size. They have the asymmetric ones, which are much bigger. They have a few, but they don't have this. So it's hard to say what the price would be. It's by appointment only. Okay, the quote is by appointment only. All right, it's kind of like the market for this watch is a by appointment market. Right, it's very illiquid. There is no liquidity, actually, I should say. So the liquidity is by appointment only. So when I bought it, I was thinking, okay, so you got limited edition, and also at the time, in 2022, I thought, okay, China, I thought was gonna make a comeback, and when they came back, there'd be, obviously that's a huge market. You got 1 billion people, and they love, they're into this feng shui stuff. This is like very, very Chinese, right? Like the eight thing is, and the meteorite is a super. This is a very, very desirable, I think. And I actually, listen, if anybody of you guys are Chinese, if we have any Chinese Oriental people watching this, you don't have to be Chinese. You could be, I don't know, close enough. You could be like, I don't know, Thai, or, I don't know, Japanese. I don't know if do the Japanese believe, yeah, they do believe in feng shui. I mean, whatever, close enough, whatever you are, you could be whatever, right? So, but you know what I'm saying, right? So, they're really into this feng shui type of thing, and the backstory, they're into that, right? So I thought, okay, I'm getting into this watch at a deep discount. Worst case, the Chinese economy comes back. That's my upside. So here are my catalysts. And number one is, okay, Chinese economy. Number two, I'm getting in at a deep discount. So, okay, so that gives me protection because there's not a lot of inventory that can, come out against me cheaper. And here we are. So what happened is, subsequently, 2 years later, the Chinese economy is still in the toilet, so that is not helping. Chinese economy is absolutely dead in the water, and may never come back. It could be like Japan. China could be end up like Japan. It could be like, I think China's got some deep, big problems. I'm not saying they're going to go out of business, but you know what I'm saying. There's just the energy is gone. The energy that I think they're not as materialistic anymore. I think they're kind of, there's always going to be, obviously, with 1 billion people, but there's a lot of them are kind of just, I don't know. It's kind of the mojo is gone. The Chinese mojo is gone. So, and then of course Jaquet Droz stopped production of the mass pieces. So where does that leave us? Now they're only doing the bespoke pieces. So where does that leave us? I don't know. Basically, I think, again, if you had to ask me, what would the value of this watch be today? I would be probably plus or minus. I think there's probably, it's almost like a coin toss. If I'd be making or losing money, I would say it's closer to, if I had to give it like on a curve, I would say there's probably a 50% possibility of me losing $1,000, maybe a 25% possibility of me making maybe 2 to 30,000, and there's whatever the balance is, losing $1,000. It's really like a break even, basically, or really, I would say, look, in reality, it could be a loss because 2 years of 5% interest. That's kind of your benchmark. So I'm down. So this is essentially either way. It's we're not talking about big money here, but it's basically a break-even watch. But if you were to get one today, if you can pick one up for, let's call it under 10 grand, if you can get one for under 10 grand, I think you should definitely do it. But here's the other flip side of this. Right, this is one thing I want to address. when I bought this watch, it was really to mark kind of a milestone, okay? A milestone. It's none of your business what the milestone is, but it was a personal milestone. And, so when you buy a watch to mark a personal milestone, it's okay. I think it's okay to buy it at retail as long as you don't pay full price. And sometimes, part of the benefit is that whole experience, that what do they call it, the retail sucker experience. It's part of it. It's nice to kind of walk in. They give you a glass of scotch. They have a selection of scotch, different whiskeys. I think not scotch, whiskey, whatever it was. With the full big size ice cube. They give you the whole thing, right? You get the full treatment. And you're walking out with a watch. It's virginal, right? It's never been sullied. It's never been sullied by peasants. It hasn't had, Whereas you buy a watch on the secondary market. It's been around. It's got a reputation. It's been, it's been around. It's got some miles on it, right? And you don't know what happened. You never know. You buy a watch on the secondary market. You don't know, there could be something wrong with the movement. It's a mechanical device, right? It's a living organism. You don't know how somebody, if they were, taking it on hikes in the desert, right? Which is not recommended. And this strap has never been on anybody else's, sweaty wrist. It doesn't have any peasant sweat embedded in it. No peasant DNA in the gold. So that's worth a couple of grand. Now, would I buy one today? Well, it depends. Again, it depends. If I had sometimes it's worth it. If you have some sort of milestone thing, it's whatever. What do I regret buying it? No, I don't. I'm glad I bought it. And would I sell it? Yeah, listen, if I got I would say it would be more of a trade. If I could trade in as part of something really better, I'd probably do it. What's the upside for these? I really don't know. That's the thing. This is what the point. We're 22 minutes into the video, and I don't know what to make of Jaquet Droz. I don't know what to make of it because it's so... there's no real clear market direction, right? Because I don't see any real demand, right? I don't see any massive demand drivers. There's no demand drivers for Jaquet Droz. The Chinese market is dead. It's not coming back for a while. So I was wrong about that. That was one of my theses was the Chinese market. You do have, in theory, a billion Chinese people worldwide who are potential buyers, but, still, that's not, that's not enough, right? So I don't know there's no real demand drivers for the watch, and there's no real selling pressure because whatever's out there is basically gone, right? And I think a lot of people who bought them probably I don't know. I don't see the limited editions coming up on the market, right? I think a lot of the people who bought them probably they went into collections, and we're not going to see them for probably 20-30 years. Meaning, probably people got them as gifts. They were given as gifts or whatever, and until those people die or whatever, they're not going to come on the market. And a lot of the Asians, they keep these things, right? They keep the things. In a box, whatever. They rarely ever wear it, so it's more of I don't know. It's whatever it is. So where does that leave us? It leaves us basically wasting 22 minutes on this video. Is where it leaves us. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.